Hi, everyone. My name is Katelyn Romain. I'm one of the school psychologists here at South Fayette. I am also a behavior specialist, and I am one of the 504 plan coordinators with the Alpha Cut M through Z. I'm so happy to be able to have this opportunity to give you some insight in different, interventions and strategies for effective parenting and behavioral strategies for children elementary age wise. I apologize in advance for not having this be a live event. I recently got back from maternity leave and there was some scheduling conflicts, so I didn't want to cancel. So I wanted to make sure I did a pre recording so that you guys had the opportunity to get this information and that, I'll give you my contact information at the end. If you want to reach out, we can collaborate and I can help you in any way that I can. So, just to give you some background of what the presentation entitles, I'm going to give you some interventions and strategies and tips. I'm going to show you a short video and I'm going to talk about a book that I recently bought about effective parenting that kind of, makes you look back at how you were raised and just gives you some general tips on how to raise good, cooperative human beings. So, we're going to get started. I want to begin by stating that there is not one person who has all the answers when it comes to effective parenting. It's really a trial by error basis. And what I am presenting to you today is from research I gathered and evidence based practices and stuff that I learned, in graduate school and whatnot. Effective parenting takes practice and, most importantly, time. It's okay not to have all the answers, but we can work together to change the narrative when it comes to raising good, cooperative children. And this is what I want to do today: is give you some different tips on what you can use at home. As I stated in the beginning, I just recently had a baby, and she's my first child. So I just want to begin by stating that I am no expert when it comes to parenting, but I've had, different experiences with, school age children, working with them on behavior. And most importantly, I helped raise my nephew, Gavin, who has had a lot of behavior issues, not in school, it was mainly more at home, with his mom. And I know that might, sound familiar to some of you guys, where your children might act like angels at school, but at home it's a different story. So you're going to hear me reference him a couple times, just making different connections and different things that's worked to reduce his problematic behaviors. So some different tips and interventions to help reinforce positive behavior is, creating that special time together with your children, whether it's, going for a walk one-on-one with them. Specifically with my nephew, Gavin, he is the middle child, and my oldest nephew, Cohen, he has a lot of different, medical concerns where my sister and her husband have to focus a lot of their attention on him. And then my youngest nephew, Jackson, he's the baby of the family. So a lot of the times Gavin expressed to me where he, always gets away with everything, which might, sound familiar, that some of your children might have said about their siblings. So, Gavin really has experienced the middle child syndrome. I think that's what some people refer to it as, where they kind of feel left out. So a thing I've always, with learning about different behavior strategies, with my schooling, I've always, helped my sister kind of acknowledge the different things that she could do with Gavin. So a thing that I've always told her to do was create that special time together with him, whether it's going for a walk with him, whether it's participating in his interests, such as Pokemon Go, he liked for the longest time. Over the summer, they would go kayaking together. It's, walking away from, I know it might be hard in some of your situations, but walk away from your typical everyday routine and just give that specific child that might be showing that problematic behavior, give them at least maybe 20 minutes to do something that interests them, that gives them your full attention. iMessages is something that we're going to talk about a little bit further in this presentation. When you notice positive behavior, the most important thing you can do is acknowledge it. So if you see them cleaning up their toys, you can, express that to them. Say, I like the way you're cleaning up your toys without me having to ask you. I like the way you're treating your sister. I like the way that you're talking to your friend, stuff like that. Active listening shows that you are you're present and you're acknowledging how they're acting, you're acknowledging what they're saying to you. Tell them how you feel. So if you're feeling, frustrated with how they're presenting themselves, be sure to let them know that so they are aware of their actions. Have simple, concrete rules in your house, and you can adjust this by age. And if you have other children in your house who are younger, you can, make a separate sheet that reflects, age appropriate rules. But just having them be aware of their expectations in the house is really important. So, keys for creating an effective reward system for kids. So, set age appropriate expectations. Don't try to change behaviors too quickly. I know it's easier said than done. Involve your child in the planning process. Make sure the reward is something your child wants. Consider using tokens for your child to earn a reward and offer praise and support. So, frequency and consistency. After your child does the desired behavior you want them to, you need to consistently reinforce that behavior. So, this include, behavior charts, putting stickers on the chart for when they do something that is desired, and you can come up with those specific actions that you want them to complete. Most importantly, you need to work together with your child on creating that so they're aware. And it, depending on what the behavior is, if it needs to be, consistent, then you can consistently reinforce them with stickers. But if it's something that if they're starting to master that behavior, you can say, okay, after 3 attempts, then give them the sticker or whatever the tangible reward is. So you can lessen the amount of times that you provide them a reward. What types of rewards can I offer my child? Really, it's up to you. It can range from positive praise. It can range from different tangible rewards. Something as simple as acknowledging it. Like, I really like the way you listen and clean up your room. I love the way you are helping your sister. Is great too and effective. Reward charts are something that are kind of used for behaviors that you kind of are more consistent. So earning points or stickers on a chart for desired behavior. So I think, like I said previously, you need to come up with your child what the actions that they earn prizes for. You need to then agree on a specific number when they earn a prize. So different prizes can include tangible rewards such as, a little action figure, a movie night, extra playtime, candy. It all depends, on your situation, and you need to involve your child in the planning process when it comes to the different rewards. And it needs to be something that they really desire. So, for example, if your son is really into Pokemon, they can earn Pokemon cards. That's a big thing that my nephew worked towards on his behavior chart. I came across this quote when making this presentation that really stuck out to me. The most important thing to keep in mind when using positive reinforcement to change behavior is to remember the last time we tried to change one of our own habits. It simply takes time, patience, and perseverance. So this really stuck out to me because me personally, my patience is something that I continue to work on, at home, whether it comes to, with your family, like your husband, your wife, children. Like, sometimes it takes me a while to, be patient with things because I want things done and I want things done now. And I know that's probably some of you can relate, but that's something that I need to work on, that, things take time. So, what are iMessages and what is the purpose? So, iMessages are what we talked about a little bit earlier in the presentation, and it's a way to express your needs, expectations, or feelings to your children in a respectful way that does not include yelling. So, examples of iMessages are: I feel upset when I tell you to clean your room and you ignore me. I feel sad when you don't listen to me. So you're acknowledging how you feel to them without, raising your voice. And you can also use iMessages when you're trying to show positivity. I love the way you cleaned your room so nicely. I love the way you helped your sister put on your coat. It's a way of expressing your feelings that's not reactive, and it's in a calm manner. So I'm going to kind of describe how you form an iMessage. So describe the behavior, describe how you feel, and describe the behavior effect of your child's behavior on yourself. So putting it all together, an example would be: when I see you not picking up your toys when it's time to leave, it makes me feel sad because we're going to be late. Emotional regulation, what is it? So before I go on, let me just see what oh, sorry about that. I don't want to have it kick us off. Emotional regulation is the ability to exert control over one's emotional state over certain situations. So, how can I teach my child emotional regulation skills? The most important thing you can do is talk about your feelings. So, help your child identify different emotions, such as: I know you are feeling sad because your friend can't come over to play. I love how playing tag outside with your friends make you happy. I know you feel frustrated because we have to leave. So, it's all about identifying the different emotions that they are feeling. You can Another way that you can teach coping or emotional regulation skills is teaching coping skills. I know a lot of teachers at South Fayette have used Go Noodle in their classroom for like different movement breaks. And that website, Go Noodle, also has different meditation videos that is good. When children are feeling overwhelmed, I know my nephew Gavin has used that too. My sister has helped him, access that website to meditate when he's feeling anxious or upset. And another, basic thing that you can do to teach them is counting to 10, deep breaths, stuff like that. So again, be aware of your own behavior around your child, identify your own stressors, and you need to model desired behaviors if you want your child to react that way. So if you're going to be, talking to your child and yelling at them to come across a point, they're going to feel triggered by your yelling, and they're going to react by yelling back at you. The video that we're going to watch here in a little bit kind of gives some more details of how their brain processes that information when they're feeling, when they're face to face with conflict like yelling. So why is it important to teach children about emotion? Well, emotions are scary for children. There's a lot of different ones that, that they might not understand. So if all of a sudden they go from being happy to crying because of a sudden event, this can be an unpleasant, unexpected event for them that they don't understand how they got to that situation. You can also talk about how their bodies might feel when they feel different emotions, such as feeling butterflies in their stomach. And you can talk about different ways to cope with when they're feeling that way. Zones of regulation is a practice I think a lot of teachers use in their classroom. It teaches children how to read their body's signals, triggers, and understanding how their behaviors impact those around them. And it leads to improved emotional control, sensory regulation, self-awareness, and problem-solving skills. So looking to the right of this slide, you'll see like the green zone is that calm, relaxed state. The blue zone is feeling lonely, bored, disappointed. Yellow zone is worried, nervous, frustrated, silly. The red zone is, the zone that you don't want to be in, where, you might be feeling enraged, hysterical, and terrified. So helping them, identify their emotions and giving them some feedback on how they can cope with that is really important. This next slide is a different activity you can do with your children to help them identify how they're feeling. So on the left, you can see, happy, unpleasant, upset, very upset. And it says, I feel like this when. So you can work on this activity with your child, to have them express to you what makes them happy, what makes them upset, and whatnot. So teaching the brain to children and adolescents, this is a video I was talking about previously. This video, it shows how children and adolescents respond to events when feeling overwhelmed or threatened. So I'm going to go ahead and play this 5-minute video.
So I want to talk for a minute about how to teach the brain. One of the really important things that we know in trauma is that when we help people understand the injury trauma creates in the brain and help them understand how that impacts the way they respond to other events in the world, it really helps them and their families move forward in their healing. So lots of people have given ways to teach the brain. As a practitioner myself, I've taken a lot of the models from Dr. Dan Siegel, taken models from the Hahn Foundation for teaching in the optimistic classroom, and looking at some of the things Ledoux has done, and put them together and really challenged myself and folks that I educate about practicing really teaching the brain. So when I explain this to teenagers, I start with the hand model, okay? And I start by explaining that we're going to talk about the downstairs brain and the upstairs brain that everyone has. Formally, this is called the limbic system, and this is called the cerebral cortex. But what we're going to talk is downstairs brain and upstairs brain. So in your downstairs brain, this is where fight, flight, or freeze lives, okay? When threat comes at you, your body has 3 reactions it can make. It can fight, it can run away, or it can stay very still until the danger's gone. That's what this brain does, okay? This part of the brain. What's up here, the upstairs brain, its job, among many other things, is to solve problems, to help you calm down, solve problems, okay? And to tell the downstairs brain, I got this. We're gonna be okay. There's another solution. So what happens a lot of times to kids who've experienced trauma is if you think about these like muscles, because you've gone through a lot of threat, this downstairs part of the brain's been doing push-ups your whole life, okay? So this part of the brain's really strong. The part of your brain that solves problems hasn't had as much exercise because you've had to be really strong to be a survivor, a thriver. So what happens is that the brain gets what I call emotionally hijacked. This downstairs brain comes up on top of this brain, it takes over, okay? So the downstairs brain's in control. And so you fight, you run, you freeze. The only things that work when you're down here are things that calm you down. So we call them self-regulation skills. And that happens from connection. Somebody talking to you, helping you breathe, helping you feel your body calm down. Once that happens, then the upstairs brain can come back, and then you can solve problems. So that's how I try to explain to teenagers the downstairs brain and the upstairs brain, and what happens to them when they experience a threat. With young children, what I've found is they like animals. When I say young, probably 3 to 8 years old. Sometimes teenagers like it too. And so what we call this is the downstairs brain, that threat center again, is what I call the barking dog. If you think about when any noise or threat makes, usually a dog will bark. So this is the barking dog, okay? A problem solver is often called the wise owl. So upstairs is the wise owl, downstairs is the barking dog, okay? When the dog barks, the owl flies away. And so when the dog's barking, the only things they can do are maybe practice blowing bubbles, maybe practice breathing deeply, things that help the dog start calming down. And that's where you build their self-care strategies. They practice lots of different things to help the dog stop barking. The first skill being recognizing when their dog barks. Once they learn how to calm the barking dog, then the owl flies back, and then they can come up with solutions. And again, they're trying to get this muscle stronger. The problem for most people who are intervening, if you're talking to a family, most parents are going to naturally start with redirection and consequences for negative behavior. That's the first place they go. They're shaking fingers and telling somebody, stop that, you need to do this. That's an upstairs brain intervention, while most children who've experienced trauma are downstairs. So the term Siegel uses is you connect, then you redirect. The only thing that will calm a barking dog or the downstairs brain is helping that child calm down. And only then, once you teach the child to calm down, can you engage the part of the brain that solves problems and actually come up with solutions for better behavior choices. And that's why it's important to respond to the need, respond to the safety needs that get kicked up by threat, and not just react to the behavior that happens.
I really hope that you enjoyed that video as much as I did, and hope it gave you a new perspective, when responding to your children. So I came across a list of different children's shows that teach emotional regulation, and some of those include Clifford the Big Red Dog, Sesame Street, Barney and Friends, Esme and Roy, Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, Doc McStuffins, and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. So some of these, they talk about emotional regulation in the videos. They talk about problem-solving skills as well. So this is the book that I was talking about at the beginning of the presentation. This book is what I have in front of me. I'm halfway through it, and what this book is about, it provides parents with practical strategies to break free from reactive parenting habits and focus more on using strategies to raise kind and cooperative children. And this book provides parents with powerful mindful skills to calm your own stress response when things don't go the right way. It shows you how to change old patterns and gives you strategies to keep your cool and practicing acknowledgement. Looking through it now, it also has different, not homework, but different activities that you can do to help reflect and look back at your own parenting. And, it just is a great tool to really use when, thinking about how you talk to your children. And it made me look back at how I was raised. And, if you come from parents who, when they were trying to express something to you or have you do something where they yell at you, and maybe that kind of got instilled in you, maybe that's how you respond to your children. It kind of helps you learn strategies to break away from being reactive and yelling, and it helps you come up with different ways to talk with your children. So I want to thank you again for taking the time, for being here, and I apologize again for not having this be a live event, but this is my contact information. Please feel free to reach out with any questions that you might have, and I really, appreciate the time that you took to watch this. I know everyone has busy lives, but thank you again, and have a great night.